So if you have any young ears in the, within reach of your computer sound, you might want to have them leave the room because this may get heated, maybe a few cuss words. So anyways, we're going to talk about the Constitution, some of the amendments, race baiting, just a whole mix of different things. So anyways, I got a special guest today. Well, if you want to call him, well, he is special. One of my very good friends, and he decided to come over and help me with this video, so that'd be cool. We can get a couple of opinions on what we're about to talk about. So, Lee Ralph, come on in.
Hey buddy, how you doing?
Good, good. Thanks for being a part.
No problem.
And so this is Lee, and of course, y'all know me. I'm Terry, Outdoors with Paradise, and Lee Ralph. So we're just gonna get started.
Cool.
Right away, and we're gonna talk about some of these things. The biggest thing that I really wanted to start off with is race baiting. Especially after this Ferguson thing, everybody, wants to, complain about, blacks, whites, but it goes much further than that. I mean, there's you got Mexicans, Asians, all this, and everybody feels they're being treated, unrighteous, and I don't agree with some of the things that people are saying. My biggest thing is you're either American or you're not.
True. I think we've, I don't want to say departmentalized, but you know what I'm saying, we've sectioned ourselves
well,
off
we're separated as a country.
hyphenated Americans.
Yeah, we're separated as a country, and that's not the way it should be. We all need to come together and, fight for the same
flag.
cause.
Yeah.
Exactly, under one flag, one nation. But like African Americans, Mexican Americans, I don't know what you would call the Asian one, I don't
Asian
know,
American.
Asian American or whatever. I don't believe that. You're either American or you're not.
European American.
Exactly. They say Scottish American, Irish American, all that. Well, let's just drop that hyphen and let's all just be Americans. Because that's what it should be. We need to quit dividing ourselves amongst one another and go for the same cause. So, and a very good example that I have that I looked up earlier is Raven Simone. She was the actress, the youngest child on the Cosby Show.
Let's see, the stuff he just told me about, this is stuff I didn't know. It's good information.
Right, Raven Simone, she did an interview with Oprah. It was either like September, early October of 2014, where she was actually on Oprah, and she just came right out and she said, I am not an African American, I am an American. My roots come from Louisiana. I come from America, I'm an American. And Oprah blew up. She freaked out. She said, girl, you're going to get so much hate for that. Well, kudos to her. I agree 100%.
I agree too, yes.
She's an American, and that's really cool that, somebody with some popularity like that.
I want to step back on that before you go any further. I don't see anything wrong with being proud of where your family came from. I am an American of Scottish descent. I'm an American of African descent. I am an American of Italian descent. I don't have a problem with that at all. But when we look at ourselves as a group or as a people, I think we ought to remove all the hyphens.
Exactly, because we are the people, of the United States of America. I totally agree.
We the people.
Yeah, well, we the people. That's what I'm saying. We are the people. So, when it comes to that, I don't agree at all. Put yourself on one side of the box or the other, and you're either African or American or Mexican or American. Let's just drop that hyphen. You're one or the other. Let's not go both, because all you're doing is dividing yourself.
Well, before you go, in the 1800s and stuff, when people, or even earlier in the founding of this country, people would come to America, they would give an oath of allegiance to this country. And in that oath of allegiance, they would deny any sovereignty to whatever king or power or country that they had left. They would say that they deny that they are under the rule of King George of Britain, that they are now an American citizen. And we've lost that as a country.
And those people knew the Constitution better than probably anybody does today.
Yes.
Because they had to know the Constitution back then, to become a citizen.
True.
They gave them tests. And there were some tests that, I don't agree with because you couldn't pass it. During like the civil rights movement, there was the Alabama literacy test, which nobody could pass it. Doesn't matter where you came from, you couldn't pass the test because it was made to flunk.
So I'm not too familiar with that.
Oh, you should look that up. The Alabama literacy test. Even somebody had been American or lived in the United States all their life, they couldn't pass the test. It was designed to flunk. But that was the whole civil rights thing. And so anyhow, but this whole thing goes on. What we're talking about now is we are expressing our First Amendment right, which by and large, which everybody knows, is the freedom of speech. There's some other freedoms that go into the First Amendment, but the freedom of speech is what we're doing now. And I challenge each and every one of you to make a video, put a podcast out, do something and express your freedoms because you have that freedom of speech. Let your voice be heard. That's where it's at because there's nothing illegal about it. You have that right. It's a birth-given right, to your First Amendment.
The bad thing is most people do not know. A lot of people yell for their rights and their freedoms, but the problem is most people don't know what their rights are. And while they're busy yelling for their rights, they don't realize they're cutting themselves off from the rights that were given to them under the Constitution.
That's exactly right. And there's a hell of a lot more rights in the Constitution than just that one.
Sure.
And nobody knows what they are. Matter of fact, I'm going to do a video challenge right now, since we're talking about the Constitution. And my good friend David Robertson goes through this probably every podcast that I've ever heard him say. He brings up this. And so I'm going to do a challenge because in his podcast he challenges you to do the same thing. So I'm going to challenge everybody. And let's see. I want to give away a knife.
Oh, hey.
I'm going to give away a Mora.
Cool.
Probably a Mora companion.
Good night.
To the first person that can comment on this, word for word, what Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution states. You write it down word for word in the comment box. The first person that does that, I will send you a Mora companion. Pretty simple. You can look at it, even if you don't know it, you can look it up, but at least you read it. At least you wrote it down, you knew what it meant. So, from there. And, I don't know, let's, since we're talking about the First Amendment.
First off, we're talking about reading the Constitution.
Yeah.
A lot of times people talk about reading the Constitution, they think of this big document, many pages, not like any of the bills that are being passed today, but
The Constitution is in a small
Yes.
book.
And in fact, actually, there is the Constitution in this book.
Right.
A few pages. In this is also the Declaration of Independence and some other, index and stuff. The Constitution itself is not a large document. It's, easy to read. The language is a little bit different than what we use today, but
But it was written in simpleton's
Yes.
terms.
Yes.
There's nothing in there that you can't,
Understand. Yeah.
understand. Get a dictionary. Although the dictionary has changed since then.
Well, and also there's we have the internet. There's enough resources. You get to a section you don't understand, go to a reputable website, an unbiased website, and get a clearer understanding of what that article or amendment stood for. But anyway, I've stepped on your.
No, it's fine. Totally. That's why I got you here. Let's do it. So I was going to read you the First Amendment since we're talking about that. Here's the First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or the press or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Now, what that settles down to in a nutshell is you don't like what the government's doing, you have your freedom of speech to tell them you don't like it. There you go.
That's not burn down a building. That's a freedom of speech to speak up and say something.
Exactly. That doesn't mean go rioting in the streets and looting and things, but that's for you to do. You don't agree. You can say you don't agree with what they're doing. They make a new law. You can say, well, I don't agree with that. And you can tell them why. And that is your right under the First Amendment of the Constitution. So use that. If you don't like something that's going on, speak your mind.
Well, we were talking, I mentioned burning the buildings and stuff, and the riots. We just read that there is a clause in there where you can peacefully assemble. You can go out and speak your mind. You can let the other parts of the country or your community know, hey, we don't agree with this. So you do have that right to peacefully assemble. That's the key.
The thing is, though, today is with all the laws in the world that now you have to have a permit to assemble, which is unconstitutional by the Constitution.
Yes.
That is against the law, according to the Constitution. But with all the amendments and tyrants that we've had over the years, you got to get a permit now, which I totally disagree.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean you can't make a video and put it on the internet, make a podcast. Just get out there, be spoken, be heard. If you don't like it, say something about it. Just chaps my ass. Yeah. So anyway, along the lines of the First Amendment, and this kind of falls into it, and I haven't heard anything in this in a long time. Matter of fact, right before we started this video, I looked it up and I couldn't find anything new. Brandon Duncan from California, he's a rap artist. He goes under the name Tiny Do. Apparently, he put out an album, and on the album cover is like some guns and bullets, I believe. I haven't seen the album cover, but the state of California is charging him with some ridiculous, laws. But he's facing 25 years to life for artwork on his album cover.
Which, if you just told me about an album cover with guns and bullets, first thing I think of is 70s, 80s Southern rock bands.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
They're all over.
Leonard Skinner, that's all that's the first thing I pictured was a Southern rock band. There was no stink about it. Damn, why is this rapper facing charges just because he has pictures of a weapon?
Yep. And I would have done more research, but the whole point of me being so vague about it was for you to do your own research and make up your own mind about it. Personally, I have read a lot about it, and I don't want to go into detail about it, but I want you to make up your own mind. And nobody is, I haven't heard anybody throwing a fit about this, even though, everything he's done is under the First Amendment. He hasn't done anything illegal. Matter of fact, he has a perfect record. He has no criminal charges on him at all. And he comes out with this album, and the album cover, somebody didn't like, so now they're charging him with all these felonies.
Aren't they, through the album art, somehow trying to connect him with gang violence, even though it's just album art?
That's exactly what it is. Because supposedly he is a part of some gang that's in California, which, what did he do? The guy has a clear record. He's expressing his freedom of speech, his freedom of art, which all follows under that amendment. So, you guys do your own research on that, and tell me what you come up with. Put a comment in there, make a video, do something. I think it's wrong for anybody to be charged with something like that. So, I've come to the point now, I don't give a shit what people think. Of course, I never have, but I'm getting more serious about it now. I'm letting my word be heard, because I think that's what everybody needs to do. That's right. Is get out there and be heard. So, I don't know. But anyways, quit separating, between ourselves, that's the whole deal, Republicans, Democrats, conservatives, liberals. We were never meant to have separate parties. We never were. And we've become divided as a country. It's time we all come back together. And,
and we can come back to that, we can still disagree, but that's how we work through this stuff.
Absolutely.
We don't need to divide.
We can have intellectual conversations about it and get through things, but I don't know what to do about it other than what I'm doing now, and that's making this video, so.
Education, and what our education system has failed us since the 60s. It's not teaching American history.
Oh, it's getting worse every year.
And through stuff like this, it's education. Anything you can learn and speak up, education. Get a copy of the Constitution, study it, learn it, teach it to your children, to your neighbor.
Definitely teach it to your children. That's the most important thing, is teach it to your children. Because the school system is ran by the government, and they're, by my, the way I see things, they're dumbing us down. They really are.
And I want to add on that. I don't care. Most times when people think about the Constitution, they think about white conservatives. This is for everybody, every race, every person that's a United States citizen. Like I said, you talk about freedoms, you talk about rights, they're right here. This doesn't give you your freedoms and rights. This tells you what the government can do and what they cannot do. You have your freedoms and rights, they're in here. This controls the government, not you.
And by the way, the government is not in charge. The people are in charge. And everybody's got it backwards. They think that the federal government is number one. That is not so. It starts with the people, then it goes to the state.
We're a republic.
That's right. We were a republic once. I don't believe we are anymore. Even though they say
on
that
paper
still
we are.
On paper we are, but we're really not. That's where the Article 4, Section 4 of the comes in. Read that, study it. So, yeah, it's time for us to all get back together.
True.
I don't, it may be too late to fix it, but we can damn sure try, and I'm not afraid to. So, you got anything to add?
No, I think you covered it.
We'll cut this rant, here, and thanks for watching and everything, and I hope you guys do your own studies and come up with your own opinions, because that's what it's all about. That's why we're all Americans. So, I want to thank Lee for being a part of this.
Thank you for having me over.
Well, thanks for bringing beer.
Got a video coming up testing out the beer that I brewed.
That's right. So make sure you check out Lee's channel. He's got some good stuff on there. It's getting better all the time. So, but yeah, let's quit dividing. Let's come together and conquer. Okay. Look at it this way. Everybody says, well, the Constitution is just a piece of paper. Oh yeah, it is. You look at it this way, that piece of paper is pretty thin, right? But look how much bigger, how many more times it multiplies when you hold it up this way and put all the people in it like it was designed to do. So,
Good analogy.
all right, guys and ladies, thanks for being a part of it, and make sure to comment, rate, subscribe, and I would love to hear from you. So, and be sure to check us out Wednesday nights, Prepping for a Purpose, 7 o'clock Central Time. We're going to start doing that again. So, anyhow, thanks, and we'll see you next time.